zombie course is dead, leaving Astro to seek a new means of learning and exploring game development. With the intention of learning and practicing more advanced techniques, Astro put together a long list of full-length game tutorials and started to work his way down the list. In this entry, we'll see how much progress he's made since then, as well as any other new and exciting news.
Let's use some contact with a test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they
It's a new and strange environment at first. Just suddenly finding yourself in orbit.
You got speed, Jonathan.
All right, lift off and the clock has started. Yes, sir. Reading it loud and clear.
Four computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Discovery Houston, I've got a good picture of Steve.
Discovery, going throttle. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Now playing entry number 8.
Hello, my name is Pat. Welcome to the next big entry of my... Wait, can you hear me? I'm not sure you can you actually hear me? Let me just check in real quick. Okay, hang on a second, happens all the time. 1 second.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, good, because I don't think YouTube will let me back into their data centers after what I did to them just now with that crowbar. You know, you'd think there would be an easier way to get more bandwidth. Anyways, hello, my name is Astro-Drifter, and since the last entry to the devlog, a lot of things have happened. Yet again. If you've been following my social media pages, you'll know that I have something rather interesting to address. If you haven't, then you're in for a surprise. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, about that roadmap from last time. I haven't progressed down the roadmap by much. Now, on one hand, that's great because that means I'm learning a lot more from the tutorials that I'm doing, and I need to take my time to understand the content. On the other, it sort of makes for a dull show, as far as you guys are concerned. Nonetheless, here's how far I've made it since last time.
Oh no!
Just for the record, I have started working on HELIX JUMP as well, but the more I sink my teeth into it, the more I'm unsure whether it's worth doing. It's very beginner stuff. Anyway, here's the thing. These two have been seriously interesting. I'm going to talk about match 3 first. For starters, if you're a beginner with programming, do not try this video. If not for the work that I did back in the spring, I would not have been able to follow along with this one. And even still, I had issues with portions of this tutorial due to the use of what's known as asynchronous programming. To put this simply, asynchronous programming is when you have a code that executes up to a certain point, then waits for something to happen, and then finally continues from the point where you stop. That's a super simplified explanation, but it helps with loads on your computer and it has the benefit of improving performance in a lot of cases. I don't know if you need this complex of a code to make this kind of a game, but it was used in this tutorial and I thought it was something worth looking into for future use. Beyond that, everything else was pretty straightforward. So, special shout out for Winterbolt Games for making this great tutorial. Continue the great work. You've clearly done a lot of other things, so I'll see if I can get back to you in the future. Now, Pacman. The Pacman tutorial was the longest one that I've done so far, and the last one that I've done from Zigurous, who I mentioned heavily in the last entry. I'm not sure what took longer, writing all of the code or just setting up the level. The most interesting thing I got from this tutorial is this amazing thing in Unity called the tile map. If you don't know about the tile map and you use Unity, stick around for this because you're going to want to know about it. So the tile map is a system that allows you to place and snap sprites on a grid. And when you have this grid, you can literally paint your level onto your screen. There's no more clicking and dragging, no more checking for overlapping or anything like that. And while it's not perfect for every game, you would be surprised how adaptable it is. But here's the thing. You can use it for designing 3D environments, too. This is huge. With tile maps, all I have to do is make sure that my structures are within the bounds of a tile, and I can literally create a level within minutes. Sort of. I am exaggerating a bit because there are still quite a range of other issues you'll need to sort out. Nonetheless, though, this will be a game-changing tool for building levels and putting things together. Now, as for the code, I'm not really going to go over it, but I will say that it wasn't very complex. Much like Tetris and Match 3, these scripts are numerous, but they aren't all that hard to follow once you break them down. Of course, you can feel lost when you're trying to retrace your steps through these codes, but the basic practice of a code never really changes. All that changes is the means of writing it out. As a skilled programmer, or maybe a rather meticulous one, you would be able to write a comprehensive code that is so readable even a first grader could tell you exactly what's going on. A really, really, really smart first grader. So, after about a week or two, I finished Pacman. And then I decided to take a 3 or 4 day break since it was a lot of work. During this break, I began to ask questions. And I was thinking a lot about Project Peel and the games that I'd made so far. What did they have in common? And then how were each different? What was more fun and what was less fun? Was Project Peel going to be able to be as fun as these games? And if not, how could I spruce it up to make the gameplay more interesting? And I just fell into this rabbit hole where I was like, Project Peel needs to have more compelling gameplay. But then I thought even further, what does that even mean? And so, these questions brought me to a rather compelling train of thought. I want to propose 2 profound questions to you. Firstly, what...
Warning. The emotionally profound speech prevention system has been activated. The EPSP detected an attempt to give an emotional and profound speech that would have taken far too long, and likely made the speaker sound idiotic. Estimated time saved by EPSP, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 12 seconds. A summary of the prevented speech, and counterpoints generated by the EPSP system will be provided, now. Summary. Project Peel is not as engaging as the classic games that have been recreated with tutorials. Therefore, Project Peel must undergo drastic design changes in order to become more appealing. Counterpoint. Game genres exist for the purpose of classifying the experiences provided by games so players know what to expect from the titles they are playing. Project Peel does not share the same genre as the games recreated with the tutorials, as they do not seek to provide the same kind of gameplay experiences. Therefore, an effective comparison cannot be made between the two, and any changes made as a result of this comparison will make you look like a total twit. The EPSP system will now disengage. Thank you and have a nice day.
And when you really get to the truth of it, Project Peel is, in its current state, a boring I set off the EPSP, didn't I? Yup. I had that thing installed after that weird rant about Michael Myers being a relatable and wealthy source of inspiration. It also prevents me from writing in long-winded attempts at witty speeches that I use to segue into big announcements. It's been very helpful. Anyways, now that my train of thought has been broken, and the more I think about it, comparing Frogger to a first-person horror game is stupid. They're not even the same type of game. But what if they could be? This is the big breakthrough I had during my vacation after Pacman. What if classic arcade games could be scary? And that's when I got an idea. Albeit a common idea that's already been done by others, it's still an interesting one nonetheless. I call this idea Project 256, an arcade-style, first-person horror game inspired heavily by Pacman. I made a post about this on Twitter and TikTok, but only now am I actually going to shed more light on the project. Now, like I said, a lot of other people have already done this. However, I believe my idea for this concept is going to be rather estranged from the average first-person Pac-Man experience. The gameplay is obviously going to be similar to how you play Pac-Man, like collecting objects, wandering the maze, and avoiding enemies. However, there are going to be quite a few changes from the source material. I'm pulling a lot of my inspiration from this Terminal Montage video for style and setting. If you don't know Terminal Montage by name, chances are you've seen some clips from his channel because of how popular they are and how much people like to repost content that isn't actually theirs. Always support the original artist. There will be links in the description below for this video as well as the other tutorial videos, like always. So, right now, the newest thing that I've managed to adapt is player movement. One thing that I really wanted to replicate was the strict, linear movement that you see in most top-down games from this era. I think the limited control will really add to the horror experience. Of course, there are still a few kinks to work out with this, like the fact that you sort of get stuck off to the right side after turning, or if you spam the controls enough, you will break everything. So I have that to think about. The other thing that I've managed to do so far is make the basic movement for the AI. Right now, the AI can wander the halls without any issues. But nothing happens upon seeing the player yet. That's going to be a whole week of work. I have most of this project planned out already. Now all I need to do is hunker down and just get to work. And so, this new project is why I haven't made a whole lot of progress on the roadmap. I still intend, of course, to work on tutorials from the list, so I'll be balancing the tutorial work and Project 256 for the time being. We are headed into the best season of the year, Halloween season. That means there will be lots of pumpkins, oranges and browns, and unbeknownst to you, a lack of Astro-Drifter. Yeah, so here's the thing. October is practically the busiest time of the year for me and my family. We do a lot of gatherings. I also have to prepare for Anime NebraskaCon, which is the best local convention in this part of the Midwest. Every year I go to meet and make friends, share the channel, and see all the amazing cosplays that people come up with. It's a lot of fun, and it helps the channel out a lot. I've been working on a few additions to the Astro-Drifter costume, but you see, that takes up quite a lot of time. So what does this all mean? It means that there probably won't be a devlog next month. I know, I'm sorry. I still plan on working on Project 256 and moving down the roadmap. But with NebCon and the aforementioned family things, I'm afraid I just won't be able to make an entry without it just being a slapped together mess. And you guys deserve better than that. So, there likely won't be an October devlog. Maybe things will work out, and maybe I'll be able to get to one, but I think it's better to work under the assumption that... Now, the plan, going forward, of course, is to continue putting together Project 256 and working down the roadmap. I've seen and learned a lot of things, and I have no doubt that continuing down this roadmap will lead to a lot more. The next big step for Project 256 is going to be working out how to do the pellets and the scoring. After that, it will be yet again time for the AI. And that is the plan so far. Well, here we are again. Another log over. Things are getting busy, and with a month away from the log, it'll be very interesting to see where things are in November. Who knows? I may have a big surprise for everyone. The only way to know for sure is to stay tuned for the next entry and keep in touch by following the socials. Hit that like button, click subscribe, and wait for the magic to happen. Or don't. Break my heart. Your call. Until then, thank you so much for watching. And if I don't see you next month, Happy Halloween. This is Astro-Drifter, signing off.